Learning outcomes. After studying this module, you shall be able to understand the HR's role in obtaining sustainable competitive advantage. Know about strategic human resource management. Introduction. There are various laws and rules which control the nature of the affiliation between an employee and his/her organization. They are proposed primarily to confirm that everyone is treated impartially and equitably irrespective of their race, creed, or sexual orientation. They are intended to ensure that the treatment of employees and volunteers is based primarily on their job performance. Common types of activities guided by the laws and regulations are hiring and firing, benefits and compensations, affirmative action, rights of privacy discrimination, and harassment and wrongful termination. One of the firmest growing types of proceedings brought by employees contrary to their organizations is unlawful conclusion of employment. Other common types of proceedings are in regard to claims of discernment and harassment. It is far better for organizations first to confirm that these types of inappropriate behaviors do not happen than to have to protect themselves in courts of law. The finest way to ensure occurrence of proper behavior is to enact comprehensive guidelines regarding how employees and volunteers are treated in the workplace. The main content of any personal strategy is as follows: forming the organization's manpower, development and education of employees, rewarding the employees, and the employee relations. So all of the contents form the personal policy. These are often called as personal procedures. Difference between operational and personal policies. Now, the difference between operational policies and personal policies are that the organizational policies basically guide how employees conduct the activities of the organization. These are not about the nature of the relationship between the employee or volunteer and the organization, but how to produce the new or existing product or service for the high profitability, growth and survival of the organization. And on the other hand, personal policies deal with the human resources who decide the organizational strategies. In fact, human resources are the main source of competitive advantages. So we can say that personal policy is a plan of action, a set of proposals and actions that act as a reference point for managers in their dealings with employees. Meaning and purpose of personal strategies. Personal strategies constitute guides to action. They supply the general standards on which choices are extended. These strategies are often based on the organization's values, philosophy, concepts, and principles. Personal strategies guide the course of action which intended the organization for the accomplishment of personal objectives. It is a guideline for making wise decisions. It brings about stability in making decisions. Often it is a choice between two or more alternatives, such as the choice between promoting employees on the basis of merit versus promoting them on the basis of seniority. There are various purposes. Aims of personal strategies are as follows. It aims to diminish waste in retaining people. It reduces the inappropriability about present personal levels and upcoming needs, and exclude mistakes in staffing. Its determinations also include escaping the workers and skills shortages, discontinuing the profit grind down effects of being understaffed, making serious plans and shaping the optimal future work power by assigning the right managers, technical authorities and skilled workforces and appropriate facts. In today's inexpensive world, it is essential for the administrations to have clear and good-looking personnel policies so as to attract new aptitude and retain the present staff for the success and growth. Since every association wants lower labor turnover rate, the labor turnover rate is the number of employees leaving the organization and therefore lower the rate, better it is. Where a personal planning does begin. Personal planning begins with a clear understanding of the current personal situation in the company. The first step is an analysis of current personnel number, skills and skill levels. The second is the creation of a skill inventory. There are essentially three types of personnel strategies that need to develop any organization. General strategies. These have to do with the basic structure, philosophy and rules of the organization. They deal with issues ranging from equal opportunity in hiring and advancement to conflicts of interest, sexual harassment in the workplace and internet usage, hiring and employment status strategies. These strategies involve the worker's employment relationship with the organization, hiring, firing and everything in between. In these strategies, pay scale, title, promotions and performance reviews are laid out. It also covers benefits, employees' rights and reasons for termination. Everyday procedural strategies. These strategies deal with those issues that affect the everyday life of the worker or volunteer and the day-to-day operation of the organization. They generally include the hours employees are required to be at work, how workers should dress, when they get paid, and issues of security, as well as guidelines for how things are done in the organization. Developing personal strategies. Whenever we are formulating the personal strategy, it is necessary to answer three basic questions, which are as follows. 1. What is the recent status of the organization? 2. What is the desired status of the organization in 1, 2, 3 or 5 years? Number 3. How will the organization reach the desired status? Personal strategies can be developed if the organization finds the answers all of the above questions, and the answers can be found out if it analyzes the internal and external environment of the association, for example, their goals, undertaking serious factors for the success, etc. Each association should carefully consider what strategies it requires and how they should be worded. Whenever developing personal strategies, always consult an expert who is very knowledgeable about federal, state, provincial and local laws regarding employment practices. For example, in the USA, consider the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Americans with Disability Act of 1992, and Occupational Safety and Health Acts in Canada. Certain main employment laws are Employment Insurance Act, Canada, Pension Plan, Old Age Security Act, Canada Labour Code, etc. Personal policies might also be governed by union rules or other contractual agreements. Many organizations develop their personal strategies first by closely reviewing policies of organizations with similar programs and services. While that exercise is a good start, society still should have an expert on service practices, evaluation their strategies. Finally, in the case of corporations, the board should formally approve the strategies and the Approval should be documented in board meeting minutes. Value Addition 1. Personal policy in Indian Railways and in Reliance Industries. Indian Railways, one of the personal objectives of Indian Railways is to provide equal employment opportunities to the people of minority sections. Personal policy of Indian Railways relating to the above objectives is to fill 15% and 7.5% on the vacancies from those candidates belonging to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes respectively. Reliance Industries. It looks for people who have entrepreneurship, risk-taking and will to win capacities. Reliance Company relies on personal contracts to motivate people to join it by emphasizing, you are too talented to work in the small pond, come and build India's first great company. Today it is one of the Indian companies with a significant number of experience within the organization. Policies and personal strategies adopted by the organization for obtaining sustainable competitive advantage. Now there are various policies in the personal strategies that should be adopted by the organization for the attainment of competitive advantage. Some of these policies are as follows. The Health and Safety Policy. This policy emphasizes 4 fundamental points. Number 1, the safety of employees and the community is of paramount prominence. Number 2, that safety will take superiority over expediency. Number 3, that every effort will be made to involve all managers, supervisors and workers in the expansion and enactment of health and safety procedures. Number 4, that health and safety legislature will be assembled within the spirit as well as the letter of the law. Recruitment policy. In order to have constancy through an organization, it is essential to lay down definite principles as strategies for both organization and staff. The basic standard is the administrative approach towards filling vacancies, whether from within or outside. If the organization is strongly unionized, it is apparent that a policy or advancement from within where likely is agreed with the combinations. It takes care of as long as the right man for the right job at the right time. Personal policies concerning with the merit, interior sources, social accountability in captivating minority segments, women, etc. Recruitment policy pledges itself to the administration's personal policy, like elevating the administration's human resources, inspiring the employees over the internal promotions, civilizing the employees' faithfulness to the organization. While conveying a recruitment policy, the following influences should be taken over by the personnel managers. Number 1, government policies. Number 2, personal strategies of the other competitive organizations. Number 3, organizations' persons policies. 4, recruitment basis. 5th, recruitment needs, recruitment cost. Then number 7, selection criteria and preference. After discussing all the aspects of personal strategy, it is necessary to understand strategic human resource management, which is the backbone of personal strategies. The strategic human resource management is about the administration purposes and plans on how industry goals should be attained through persons. It is essentially based on 3 propositions. 1, that human capital is the main source of competitive advantage. Another, it is people who apply the strategic plan. And third, a systematic method should be accepted to define where the association wants to go and how it should get there. The strategic human resource management is a procedure which includes the use of predominant methods to the expansion of HR strategies which are mutual, vertically with the business policies and parallel with one another. These policies define purposes and plans related to generally administrative reflections such as administrative usefulness and to more precise aspects of people management such as resourcing, knowledge and development, reward and employee relations. It fundamentally addresses broad administrative matters such as changes in construction and culture, structural effectiveness and presentation, matching properties to future necessities, the development of distinguishing ability, knowledge, administration and the management of alteration. It is concerned with both human capital desires and the development of procedures competencies, that is, the ability to get things done efficiently. So it deals with any major people issues that affect or are affected by the strategic plans of the association. Approaches to strategic HRM. Next thing which is important for the organization is how to approach strategic HRM. There are 5 approaches to strategic HRM. These consist of resource-based strategy, achieving strategic fit, high performance management, high commitment management and high involvement management, which are as follows. Resource-based strategy. The fundamental aim of resource-based HR strategy is to achieving strategic fit between resources and opportunities and obtaining added value from the effective deployment of resources. A resource-based approach addresses the methods of increasing the firm's strategic capability by the development of managers and other staff who can think and plan strategically and who understand the key strategic issues. This approach is founded on the belief that competitive advantage is obtained if a firm can obtain and develop human resources that enable it to learn faster and apply its learning more effectively than its rival. In the resource-based view, the firm is seen as a bundle of tangible and intangible resources and capabilities required for product market competition. As per human capital theory, resource-based theory emphasizes that investment in people adds to their value in the firm. The strategic goal will be to create firms which are more intelligent and flexible than their competitors, but the challenge for the organizations is to ensure that they have the capability to find, assimilate, compensate and retain the talented individuals they need. Number 2, achieving strategic fit. The human resource strategy should be an essential part of the business strategy. Funding to the business planning process. Vertical incorporation is essential to afford similarity amongst business and human resource strategy so that it maintains the achievement of objective the business. Horizontal addition with other features of the human resource strategy is required so that its different fundamentals fit together. The aim is to attain a clear approach to management people in which the many practices are commonly supportive. 3. High performance management. High performance management purposes to make an impression on the performance of the secure through its people in such extents as productivity, superiority and levels of consumer service, growth and earnings and eventually the distribution of enlarged shareholder value. It contains difficult recruitment and selection measures, extensive and appropriate training and management development undertakings, incentive pay systems and presentation management process. The features of high performance management are as follows: careful and extensive systems for employment, selection and exercise, formal schemes for sharing facts with the individuals who work in the organization, clear job project, high level contribution processes, monitoring of attitudes, performance evaluations properly, operative complaint procedures, promotion and payment schemes that provide for the respect and financial worthwhile of the high performing members of the workers. Number 4, high commitment management. High commitment management defined as a form of administration which aimed at provoking a promise so that behavior is mainly self-regulated, relatively then measured by approvals and pressures exterior to specific and relations within the group, are based on high levels of trust. The approaches for attaining high commitment are described as follows: the expansion of career standings and emphasizes on trainability and commitment as highly valued features of employees at all levels in the organization. A high level of purposeful elasticity with the leaving behind of possible firm job descriptions, the decrease of grading and the ending of status differences, a heavy dependence on team construction for distributing information, team briefing, arranging work, team working and problem solving, improvement groups or quality circles. High involvement management. This approach includes giving workers as associates in the initiative their welfares are appreciated and take a voice on materials that worry them. It is varied with communication and participation. The aim is to make a weather where ongoing dialogue between directors and the associates of their groups takes place in order to define prospects and share facts on the administration's mission, values and aims. It creates mutual understanding of what is to be attained and outline for managing and increasing people to confirm that it will be accomplished. Limitations of strategic human resource management. Apart from all of the above discussion, there are some limitations of this strategic HRM. The concept of strategic human resource management is based on the certainty that the preparation of strategy is a balanced and lined process as shown in figure 3.1. This specifies that the overall human resource strategy flows from the occupational strategy and produces specific human resource strategies in key zones. The process takes place by a situation to organized appraisals of the internal and external environment of the society, which identify the business, administrative and human resource issues that need to be distributed with. But strategic human resource management in real life does not generally take the form of a proper, well-articulated and lined process that flows rationally from the business strategy. So in conclusion, we can say that strategic human resource management is in some ways an attitude of mind that expresses a way of doing things. It is realized in the form of HR strategies. Value addition 3. Some critical incidents: too high or too low staff turnover, a normal staff indifference between 5% and maximum 15 to 20%, that is, the people stay between 5 to 7 years and 20 years. High turnover is a symbol of discontent. The high turnover might be due to the vital people do not develop incompetence. The vital people do not like the understanding in the teams. The corporate appearance is shrinking. A very low income is a sign of a shrinking organization. This is not pleasing as it reduces the forces at work of the organization. 2. Tough competition in the niche. If the competition feels too tough, we might have to change the strategy. A knowledge organization has two choices: select consumers according to the workforces and competence inside and out. 2. Attract vital people which will fit the most eye-catching consumer segment outside and in. 3. The best have to work too hard. The best among the key people often work for too hard. This is partly due to their own workaholic nature, but might also be the consequence of a negligent personal planning. The best consultants are in high demand. Their customers want more and they attract new customers. It is therefore far too easy to allow them burning themselves out, which will cause both personal and company catastrophes. Let us summarize. Every organization requires people input. Survival of the organization depends on continuing cooperation of the people who convert inert resource into service. So personal strategies provide the knowledge of the various things, such as the idea of whom to recruit and why, various policies regarding attracting of new talent and sustaining existing people in the organization. And this strategy for attracting and maintaining personnel is known as our personal strategy, and it must be coherent with the customer strategy.